What's up and welcome to My Point of View. I am your fat and opinionated host, and as most of you all should already know, there has been a gag order put in place when it comes to the Bryan Kohberger case, which is why we haven't been getting a lot of information. For a little while there, it seems like everyone was coming forward. Just here's some information about Kohberger. Here's some info about this case. And it was almost overwhelming, the amount of information that we were digesting every day coming out of this case. And as someone who has covered quite a few cases before this one, I can tell you that not often do we get this much information this early on. But anyways, like I said, a gag order was put into place, but that creates an issue with the families of the victims. Because you see, there's still going to be people out here spreading rumors. There's still people out here reporting fake news. There's all types of stuff still going on. And what the gag order has done is basically stopped some of these families of these victims from battling against the rumors. It stopped them from being able to talk about the death of their child or their loved one. And I think we can all understand why that's an issue. Now, I understand why a gag order was put into place. I understand that they want to protect the investigation, but it's hard looking someone, a family, in the eyes whose daughter was just killed and telling them, hey, you can't talk about your daughter right now. I don't care what rumors people are spreading. I don't care what they're saying on the news. You got to be quiet about your daughter. And that's basically what has happened. But the Gonzalez family lawyer is now appealing this gag order. I want to go ahead and hop into this article so we can all have a better understanding of what is happening here. The attorney for University of Idaho victim Kaylee Gonzalez's family has filed an appeal of a judge's gag order regarding the case against Bryan Kohberger. The order is facially overbroad and vague and unconstitutional, the Gonzalez family attorney Shannon Gray wrote in an appeal filed Friday. Judge Megan Marshall issued the initial gag order on January 3rd, shortly after Kohberger's arrest, restricting comment from prosecutors, the defense, law enforcement, and other officials. On January 18th, she expanded the scope of her order, restricting attorneys for the victims of their families from speaking with the media. The attorneys for any interested party in this case, including the prosecuting attorney, defense attorney, and any attorney representing a witness, victim, or victim's family, as well as the parties to the above entitled action, including but not limited to investigators, law enforcement personnel, and agents for the prosecuting attorney or defense attorney, are all prohibited from making extrajudicial statements, written or oral, concerning this case, except without additional comment, a quotation from, or reference to the official public record of the case, she wrote. However, the victims' families are not parties to the case, Gray says. Properly construed, the order does not apply to the victims' families in this matter, Gray argued in a court filing Friday. The only parties to the case are the people and the defendant. Accordingly, as non-party citizens, the victims' surviving family members are free to speak to the public and the media under the First Amendment to the Constitution. Simply put, their rights to freedom of speech cannot be restricted through a judicial prior restraint. Lastly, he argued, the entire point of the gag order is to protect the defendant's right to a fair trial and impartial jury pool. Once the jury has been selected, the non-dissemination order becomes moot and therefore would not be allowed to be in full force for the entirety of the case, he argued. He has requested a hearing on this matter and is asking the court to amend or clarify the order. Furthermore, he argued, as their attorney, he is allowed to speak on their behalf. As attorney for one of the victims' families, I am allowed to relay to the media any of the opinions, views, or statements of those family members regarding any part of the case, as they are allowed to speak about the case under the First Amendment, he wrote. Edwina L. Cox, a Boise-based criminal defense attorney who has handled cases in the past previously representing the cult mom Lori Vallow, says that she agrees with Gray's position. Victims or the families of victims in a criminal case are not parties to the case, she said. The court absolutely does not have any authority to order non-parties to not to do or not to do something in these circumstances. Still, there is precedent allowing for gag orders if the judge finds they are necessary to ensure a fair trial, according to Nima Ramani, a Los Angeles-based trial attorney. It's an uphill battle for the Gonzalez family, she says. The Supreme Court has upheld gag orders on witnesses and their lawyers. The victims may testify during the guilt and penalty phases of the death penalty trial. So, the question I have for you, ladies and gentlemen, is what do you think should happen here? Should the Gonzalez family be allowed to say what they want to say, to do whatever interviews they want to do? Should they be allowed to go on various news outlets and talk about this case? Or to protect the case, should they be quiet? I'm really interested in hearing your opinions. That's what I made this channel for. I made this channel to share my opinions and to hear honest opinions from other people. I feel like on YouTube, sometimes YouTubers' audiences feel forced to agree with the YouTuber's opinion. You're never forced to agree with my opinion here. I never want you to feel afraid about having a different opinion. All I ask of you all is to be honest with your opinion. Try to be respectful and share your opinions in the comment section. I think it's constructive for our society that we realize that everyone has a different way of viewing things and everyone comes to different conclusions on their own. Now, of course, we'll agree on a lot of things on this channel and we'll disagree about some, but there's always healthy room for honest opinions. My honest opinion here is I am so torn. For one, I don't like the government overstepping, especially against the freedom of speech. I understand that it is a difficult situation and this family wants to speak if they so choose. But I also understand the gag order. What's most important here is that we have a fair trial and that they're able to put Bryan behind bars and do what they're going to do with him. We don't want anything getting in the way of that. And even the Gonzalez family and the other families of these victims, I can guarantee you all, they don't want anything getting in the way of justice. And they might not realize that their words may get in the way of justice. But I don't know if that's really a likely case or not. In my opinion, I think that maybe it should be left up to the family to decide what they want to do. They need to be educated about the seriousness of the situation. You know, I think it's good for them to have their lawyer there when they say certain things because words can and will be used against you. And we don't want any funny business happening in this trial. And we know that Bryan's legal defense team, they're trying to get him off. They're going to find anything they can to get this guy off because they're trying to make a name for themselves off of this case. They're trying to rise to prominence off of this case. So they're going to be coming hard. So I don't want any of the family members to mess up and say something that could hurt this case. But all in all, I also don't want them to be told that they can't express themselves. I think there's lines that you don't cross. And, you know, they have legal representation that should let them know what those lines are. And then they should be free to say what they're going to say. But I will say this, if they want to speak so they could combat the rumors and speculation that's going on, it's never going to work. It's never going to stop. And you're honestly going to add fuel to the fire. When you shoot down rumors, all it does is create more rumors, and then people view you as an enemy, and it gets really weird in this true crime space. And I wish that families we're prepared for what they're about to get into when a case like this happens, because YouTube's a whole nother animal and a whole nother beast, and so is social media, and they're going to run wild with how they feel regardless of what anyone says, and they'll just twist your words against you, you know. But hey, let me know, like I said, let me know your opinions down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and I'll talk to you all in the next video.